Hello and welcome to the big fight. Now for 10-12 days, the entire country has been cheering for Indian athletes at the Olympics, and something like 12 athletes from the Northeast, and Mary Kom in particular really seems to have captured everyone's imaginations and everyone's heart, and she certainly deserved to do that, punching well above her weight. But one of the questions that some people have asked is, well, this is fantastic, is it going to change the way people in other parts of the country view the northeastern parts of India, and how people from the northeast are treated in other parts of the country? Is there going to be a change as a result of all of this, or is there not? And that's what we're going to be discussing right here on The Big Fight. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Shekhar Gupta, Editor-in-Chief of the Indian Express. He spent a lot of time covering the northeast and looking at various aspects of this. So it's a pleasure to have you with us. Kiran Rijiju, former MP Arunachal Pradesh, great to have you with us. Mr. Ian Rammohan, former DG BSF, has worked very extensively in many parts of the northeast as well. Beena Lakshmi Nepram, writer, activist, it's great to have you back with us here on the Big Fight. Mr. BVP Rao, former Secretary of Assam, he's also Director of Sports Authority of India, helped set up actually the particular institution where Mary Kom trained, I believe. That's where she got her first training. So we'll be glad to have your views. Deepak Devan, Executive Editor of Northeast Sun, thanks for joining us. We also have Avlok Klankar, who's a senior correspondent with Tehelka, has been covering the Northeast and has a slightly different take on this also. He's been writing about sometimes people from other parts of the country can face a lot of discrimination in the Northeast as well. And we have Rahul Narikar, spokesperson of the Shiv Sena, also joining us from Mumbai. Shekhar, if I can get you to start off first of all, the Mary Kom phenomenon, the fact that everyone has really got so much behind her, is this the sort of a thing that changes attitudes, or is it something that will come and go?
Well, it does, and I'll tell you why. Because when you live in the Northeast, as I did a long time back, but I did live there for almost 3 years, you feel out of sight, out of mind. You think the rest of India doesn't care who you are, doesn't know who you are, and doesn't bother. But when you come to the other end, which is Delhi in particular, which is such a callous city, then you realize that the problem is more complicated. That not only do we not care, but we actually know nothing. We know more about Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, even Burma than we know about many parts of the Northeast. When I was first sent as correspondent to the Northeast a long time back in 1981, January, in fact, the cashier at the Indian Express asked me in which currency he should send my salary. So it's not a question of insensitivity. There is insensitivity, but more important than that is ignorance. Because you know how many people would know, or maybe it's not so relevant. Maybe some friends from the Northeast will say, why does everybody have to become an anthropologist? But you know, you see these boxers. One is a Methi from the valley of Imphal. One is a tribal from a particular district. You know, Manipur, if you look at Manipur, it's perhaps one of the most fascinating states of India in terms of diversity. So I don't think there is adequate understanding of diversity that exists within the Northeast. We just dismiss the entire region of the country east of the Siliguri neck as Northeast. These are very distinctive tribals, very distinctive states. Nagas are more than 30 tribes, each one with its own language. Yeah. So in our country, there is inadequate understanding of our diversity, which is really the most wonderful thing about India. I do believe, for example, that our founding fathers got one thing wrong when they said unity in diversity. We should never have said unity in diversity. We should have only said celebrate diversity. And what Mary Kom, Devendra, what all these people are now doing is they're reminding you of the diversity that exists in the country, and that we've treated in an out of sight, out of mind manner.
Okay. Out of sight, out of mind. Kiran, do you agree with that? And does something like this, someone like Mary Kom, whom the entire country has been cheering for and really, in a sense, celebrating her story, you know, mother of two, coming on, different weight class, fighting people who are 4 inches taller than her?
Primarily, what I look at the situation is that India is a huge country. And it's not anybody's fault not to know about another region. It's a subcontinent, 1.2 billion people. So if anybody from Kerala doesn't know about Northeast, it's not his fault or her fault.
Sometimes people from the Northeast will not also know what's happening in Kerala and the difference between somebody from Tamil Nadu and Kerala and Andhra Pradesh.
Yes. So in this kind of situation, when an icon comes out, it brings the attention. That is why, first of all, Mary Kom or somebody like her brings the attention of the nation towards a region. Because when a region feels neglected, or when a child in a family feels neglected, you crave for attention. Normally what happens is, when something positive happens in Northeast, the government gives customary kind of a statement or customary kind of a gesture. This should happen. Okay. This should be true from the heart.
Right. So before I come to you, Bina, the point is there's so much attention that is being focused there. Do you think, however, a lot of people in places like Manipur will say, well, you know, we wish we'd also got so much attention at a time when there was a blockade, when, you know, people were literally selling petrol in small little bottles, when electricity is going off 11, 12 hours, when all of that is happening and when you really need a lot of attention, we wish a fraction of this attention had been paid at that time.
My first point this evening would be, Hail Mary. She has done Manipur proud. She has done the nation proud. It's the first time in 45 million people of 8 states of Northeast India has got a medal back to the country, the highest ever haul of India. So let's celebrate. We are all waiting forward to our homecoming, and this is what we would like to put.
Right.
It's not just pointing fingers at New Delhi. Our own governance in our states have failed. We could have produced many more Mary Koms. We could have produced much more people talented. Right now in Manipur, where Mary Kom is born, 4 to 5 Manipuris are shot dead every day. There is the Armed Forces Special Power Act. There are economic blockades, which is threatening every now and then. And we all have to collectively work together. The government, the civil society, and the 272 ethnic groups of our region have to work together.
Okay. Shekhar, the point of ignorance, what Kiran was also saying, was that sometimes it's true in other parts of the country as well. If you ask somebody from the Northeast about South India, you'll have the same levels of ignorance as you would about the Northeast. So is that ignorance something that's specific to us and an aspect of our insensitivity? Or as Kiran said, is it just because we're a very large country?
Well, it's a bit of everything, but it matters more, it affects more people in the Northeast. Why? Because people of the Northeast are not, as she said 45 million people, but they are not 45 million Northeasterners. They are 272 ethnic groups. So each one is a very small minority. They are very conscious of their ethnicity. They are very conscious of their identity, as they should be. Yet they want to join the mainstream. You know, one of the most wonderful things to happen in the last 25 years is that a lot of young people from the Northeast are now working in mainstream jobs all over the country. Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta, you can find them everywhere.
And they don't always have a very good experience, which we are going to come and discuss at some length right now as to what can be done to fix that.
That's what I'm coming to. So they suffer because the rest of the country doesn't fully understand them.
But Vikram, why the ignorance? I have done 5 years, I'm sorry to interrupt you, 5 years of Indian history I have done in my life. Not a single chapter of 45 million people in the Northeast. So the ignorance is not because India is large. The ignorance is inbuilt, it's absent in our policies. We need the NCERT to teach at class 5, 6, 7. If we know about India Gate, they should know about Mao Gate. So we need to have that. It is the lack of that in the policy matter, which is the root of ignorance.
Let me just get everyone in and we'll just return to this debate. So which other ways is it? And again, the Mary Kom phenomenon and others like this, hopefully there'll be others. And Devendra almost got a medal, and again, that would have focused a lot of attention. You know, there are lots of people out there who perhaps would be continuing to focus attention.
I'm from Kerala and I went to Assam. I went on my own. And I discovered that the longest reigning 2 dynasties of India are from the Northeast. The Ahom dynasty, which started in 1200 odd, went on till 1826 when the British took over that area. 600 years. No dynasty in India has lasted more than 200 or 300 years. How many people in India know this fact? But the Tripuri dynasty lasted for 800 years. Not a mention of this in any Indian history book.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.